everyone, welcome to the channel, and today I'm gonna introduce to Google Earth Studio. So Google Earth Studio is a web-based animation tool developed by Google that allows the users to create a high-quality animation and videos using Google Earth's 3D imagery. It is primarily designed for artists, designers, and content creators who wish to incorporate the Google Earth's satellite image, terrain data, and 3D model into their projects. The tool provides a user-friendly interface that enables the users to navigate and explore the different locations on Earth in 3D. The users can set up the camera movements, add frame keys, and adjust the camera angles and customize the various parameters to create a smooth and visually appealing animations. The Google Earth Studio supports a various output resolution, making it suitable for projects ranging from an online content to high-resolution video production. Some key features of Google Earth Studio includes: the first key feature is Earth's 3D imagery. To access the Google Earth's extensive database of high-resolution satellite imagery and 3D terrain data. The camera controls. The user can control the camera movements and orientation, allowing them to create a dynamic and cinematic flyovers of locations. The key frame animation. The ability to add a keyframe and create a smooth camera movements between different positions and angle. The customization options. User can adjust animation speed, camera angle, field of view, and other settings to fine-tune the animation. And last, the export option. Animation can be exported in various formats, including video files in MP4 or image sequence. So let's get started. So in this video, I'm going to show you steps to create an animation using Google Earth Studio. So first thing, how to get access to Google Earth Studio. And the process is simply easy. All you have to do is to create a Google account and sign up into your Google account and start using Google Earth Studio. So now let me show you that. So to access the Google Earth Studio, let me open a new tab. So now let me type as a Google Earth Studio. Now click enter to search. So now you can able to visualize the first result called Google Earth Studio. So click this option called Try Earth Studio. So now you can able to visualize here. So now I have signed up using my Google account, that is TerraSpatial82, and similarly you have to use one of your Google account to sign up into Google Earth Studio. So now if you are trying to access the Google Earth Studio for the very first time, you can notice this particular page. So you can able to notice here the preview version of Earth Studio is currently granted by case basis. So we have to complete this particular form below. So here you have to enter your first and your last name and your mail ID and company or the organization, and you have to enter your country and the industry you are currently in. So you can choose the industry of your choice, and later you have to write a few things about how will you use the Earth Studio. And after that you have to click this option called submit. So once you have submitted this form, you can receive the access to Google Earth Studio within 48 hours of your submission of this form. So you can view your mail ID in order to access your Google Earth Studio. So once you have received your mail, you will now have an access to Google Earth Studio. So now let me show you that. So now you can able to visualize here. Welcome to Google Earth Studio. I have received a mail from Google Earth Studios. So it's stated that you have been invited to preview the Earth Studio. So by clicking this option, you can able to access your Google Earth Studio. Make sure that you use Chrome as your browser in order to access the Google Earth Studio. And please make sure that you update your Google Chrome to the latest version prior using this tool. So now click this option to access your Google Earth Studio. So the moment you click that link, it gets introduced to this particular page. So where you can able to access the Google Earth Studio. So now let's start preparing our animation using Google Earth Studio. So to get started with the Google Earth Studio, you can visualize two different options being available here. One of the option is blank project, and second option is the open project. So the open project is particularly useful for to open the existing project. Currently we don't have any existing project. So now click this option called a down arrow in blank projects. Click this option. So click this option called quick start. So here in the quick start project section, you can visualize there is 4 options being provided. One is zoom to, The second option is orbit, and the third option is point to point, and the fourth option is the spiral, and our last option is that is a fly to and orbit. So now let us get back. So let us start create a blank project. Click this option called blank project. Now select your name, enter your name, the name of your project. So my animation is going to be for Paris, so I'm going to enter the name of the project to be Paris Animation. Entered the name of my project as Paris Animations. So in this section you can visualize, in the world section you have three different options stating from you can select Earth, Moon and Mars. So there is a possibility you can select three different planetary objects like Earth, Moon and Mars. So in this video we're gonna stick to Earth. So now you can able to visualize there is a few other options available that you can select your dimension of your animation. So currently this dimension is good for me. So you can also select the duration of your animation. So you can select the duration either by using frames or using the time code. So now let me show you the time codes. So using time code you can select the duration of an animation. So currently it is set to 15 seconds. So let me set to 30 seconds. Right now you can able to visualize I set the duration to about 30 seconds. And you can also select your frame rate of your choice. So there is 5 different options you can select. The frame rate option that you can select starting from 24 fps to 60 fps. I'm gonna stick to 30 fps. So after that all you have to do is click this option called start. So here you can able to visualize this is how the editor section will look like in Google Earth Studio. So now let's start exploring the Google Earth Studio. So in the top left corner you can visualize there is around 6 different options being available starting from file. So there is an option called new, open, save as, import, export and project setting. And the second option is being available is the edit. So we can undo, redo, cut, copy, paste and delete. And the third option is view. So there is the multi-view options, preview the quality, toggle full screen. And the fourth option is overlay, that is you can import KML file and show the overlay panels. And the animation section you have render, cloud render, and last we have a help section. So below that you can able to visualize there is a search option here available. So here you can enter the location of your choice. For example, you can search by Golden Gate Bridge. So in the search section you can just enter the location of your choice. So here you can able to visualize there is some of playback control options available in this part of the section. It's like you can play, so you can go to the next frame, so go to the previous frame and toggle full screen. So it is a kind of small video editing options like to pass and go forward and backward, and it is kind of useful in making the animations using the Google Earth Studio. And here there is an option called loop playback is available where you can play your animation repeatedly. And you can also there is another option, click this option for the single playback option. So this is where your interactive area will be. So basically you can just drag the entire globe and you can use your scroll button to zoom in and zoom out. Let me zoom in here and let me zoom out. Let me show you once again. So you can use your scroll button to scroll into any part of the globe, and similarly you can just drag to change your location. And let me reduce this. And the interactive option is kind of very smooth to access. So you can also press and hold your left key to move your globe. So now let me zoom into some part of the study region. So you can click and hold the left key to drag and move your interface to any location of your choice. So you can use your scroll button to zoom into any part of the study area. So now let me zoom into the certain location here. So here you can able to visualize the agricultural lands. So you can visualize that there is it's an agricultural area. So currently we are visualizing our the globe surface in 2D. So you can also visualize in 3D. So currently we are visualizing our globe surface in the top view. So kind of we are visualizing our earth line top view, and you can also tilt your image just by holding your scroll and press scroll button and hold it and drag the scroll button. So in this way you can visualize an image. So for the tilt view, you have to just hold your scroll button and just move upwards. So in order to visualize the globe surface in a tilted view. Now let me zoom into this particular area. So now to rotate your view, all you have to do is the similar option. You have to press and hold your scroll button, and you can just drag to the location of your choice just by view of your choice, just like the arrows moving the screen. So to change the view option, all you have to do is to click and hold the scroll button and view your view according to your choice. So in my case, I'm just holding my scroll button and moving my arrow towards the left side. And similarly, to view in the right side, you have to press and hold the scroll button and move towards your right side. So you can also zoom to this particular region just by using a scroll button and scroll to that particular area. So now you can visualize that. To scroll out, that is to zoom out, you have to do is scroll in the backward. So suppose if you want to change the view of your current, so that is we are currently in the tilted view. So you can just go back to your top view just by holding your scroll button and just moving down your scroll button. So now you can able to visualize it. We are currently in top view. So just I'm going to zoom out. Visualize in the camera position where you can able to visualize the longitude, latitude and altitude. For example, when you zoom into the current position of the study region, so you can visualize the latitude and longitude and also the altitude. So you can also notice here the altitude, the current altitude is also given here, that is around 2809 kilometers. And similarly, let me show you to the ground level. So here it gets changed to around, so the altitude keeps on changing here. So now it reaches around 317 meters. Now let me zoom out. So in the lower part, you can able to visualize there is an editing screen where the timelines are visible. So we have selected around the timeline to be varying from 0 to 30 seconds. We have started we selected in during our project selection. We have set the time to be around a 30-second animation for our project, and it is the most important part of our Earth Studio. So we have set our duration of our animation to be around starting from 0 to 30 seconds. So you can observe that. So we have created the time duration during our project creation, that is from 0 to 30 seconds. So in the lower part of the section, we already seen the camera position that indicates longitude, latitude and altitude, and similarly the camera rotation gives us the pan and tilt. So in the lower part of the section, you can visualize this particular option called add attributes. So click this. So here you can able to visualize there is a number of options that is available in this section, starting from a camera target, lock your camera to the point on the globe, and field of view, adjust the camera's view field of view, and time of the day, change the position of the sun, and clouds, show or hide clouds, and ocean overlay, show or hide ocean topography, and 3D building. The newer satellite imagery may be available when 3D buildings are hidden. And last we have the roll option, adjust the camera's roll. So now let me so in the side of the here you can able to visualize there is an option called keyframe all attributes. So this keyframe all attribute, this particular button is going to define where each and every effect and the attribute that are we going to apply to our animation is supposed to be along the timeline. So which is by adding this keyframes, and this is the button is going to add the keyframes, and I will show you how to use this particular keyframe button. So once you have completed your animation, so you can just go to this option called render. So you can click this option called render, so where you can convert your work into an animation, and it can be downloaded in the MP4 file format. So now let us start preparing our animation using our Earth Studio. So before that, let us take you to my study region called Paris, France. So now let me go to the search option, click this, and let me enter Paris. So here you can visualize, if enter the name called Paris. So now let me zoom into the study region. So here you can able to visualize. Let me show you. I think now you can able to recognize this structure. So it is one of the most famous structure, that is Eiffel Tower. So you can visualize it in the 3D. So now we can able to visualize the beauty of Eiffel Tower in the inclined view. So we can clearly able to view this. Let's zoom into this. So now we can able to visualize here. I have placed my camera in this part of the study region, and the background you can able to visualize the Eiffel Tower. So if you could like to set your starting scene to be a certain location, so make sure that you set the slider to 0, so to the starting point. So once we have set our camera position, we're gonna use the keyframe option. So we're gonna use this keyframe button in order to lock the attributes. So in this case this happens to be the camera position and the camera rotation. So like you can visualize that we have I will change this particular scene. The camera position and the camera rotation appears to be changed. So in order to set to or to lock these attributes, we're gonna use this the keyframe button. So if I could like to sort of enter to the Eiffel Tower from a point like this, for example, let me show you that. From a point like this to towards the Eiffel Tower. So once you are happy with your starting point, you can just lock this camera position and camera rotation just by clicking this option called. So once you get happy with your current starting scene, you can just head to the camera positions and camera rotation, where there is an option called add a keyframe. So you can set the camera position and the camera rotation just by clicking this option called add a keyframe. So the camera position is going to be set constant to this particular position, and similarly you can set the camera rotation to be constant for this particular starting point. You can just click this option and click this option. So we are basically locking this setting by just clicking this option called add a keyframe. And you don't have to do this one by one. You can just use this option called keyframe for all attributes. Just by clicking this option, all the attributes going to get locked and going to remain in the constant position. For example, the camera position and camera rotation. So from now onwards, we're going to lock this attributes, that is the camera. We're going to lock the settings of this camera position and camera rotation. We're going to use this particular option called keyframe for all attributes in order to lock this position of camera and its rotation. So this is going to be our starting scene. So by the time the camera duration, that is our animation duration, going to reach 15 seconds, we're going to reach our Eiffel Tower. So now we're going to set the 15-second mark to reach our Eiffel Tower. For example, let me go to the specific location. So basically we're going to create an animation just by getting towards the Eiffel Tower and take a look around the Eiffel Tower, and we can position our camera in such a way that so once you are happy with your camera position, so if you're happy with your camera position, so now let me place our 15-second mark from here. I'm going to place a 15-second mark. So now you can visualize I've placed a 15-second mark here. So now let me zoom into this particular area. So now I'm going to fix my camera position just by clicking this option called keyframe all attributes. So both the points gets connected now, so you can visualize it. So now here it has linked the record at 0 seconds and record at 15 seconds. So now the cool thing is that all these attributes we have specified, that is at 0 seconds and then 15 seconds, going to change linearly. So as we go from 0 seconds to 15 seconds, for example, let me turn the slide back to 0. So now let me start this slider from 0 to 15 seconds. You can visualize it now. So now you can able to visualize that the position of the camera is changing from 0 to 15 seconds from our starting point to the place of our interest, to the area of interest. So we can also make this animation much more better. Let me show you that. So for that we're going to use a multiple views. So here you can able to visualize this particular option called change viewport in the camera section. You can click this down arrow button. So you can visualize there are the different options have been available starting from top, north, south, east and west. So basically you can view this particular 3D structure in any view of your choice. So we can tilt this view and basically we can view from the top. Now let us select the first option called the top view. Click this option. So now let us take a look of this top view. So here you can able to visualize as part of this region. So this particular mark represents our starting point, and so this particular position is going to be the Eiffel Tower. So you can just change the view by just dragging on that point. You can place that, and this is this particular triangle. The orange color triangle here represents the camera position. So we can visualize it. So starting from this particular point, the camera is going to move in the linear fashion towards our place of interest, that is our Eiffel Tower. So the camera position is going to move in the linear fashion and going to reach this particular area of interest. So in the top section we have our starting points. We have 2 points. One is of starting point and one is of our area of interest. So the camera positions can also be moved moving in the linear fashion. So you can also change the position of this camera. So currently the camera is facing towards this part of the study region. So you can visualize this represents the camera view. So there are several different options being provided by Google Earth Studio. So one of the options is you can able to change the viewport of the layout. For example, let me click this. So you can select 2 viewports. Let me click this. So now one side you're going to view this top view of this camera, this particular section from our starting point to our Eiffel Tower, and similarly you can take another view, that is our camera view. So let me show you that. So we can drag the slider back to the 0 seconds, so you can visualize in both the top view and the camera view. So it is how you can visualize how it's getting changed in both the ports. So basically we are having multiple views. So you can view in this part of the section, in the top view section. So I'm gonna change this camera position, so you can visualize that. So I'm gonna change the camera position. So it get instantly been seen in the camera views part. So I'm gonna change this when I'm gonna do in the top view section. It's clearly is shown in the camera view section. So here, so you can change the position of this camera position. So you can also change this the camera port or the top view port just by clicking this option. I'm gonna select this part. I'm gonna select the camera. So now the camera position can be viewed in the right side, and the top view can be viewed in the left side. So you can also use this camera position but in a creative way. So rather than we are just applying it in a linear fashion, so you can use a variety of modes, or you can just move the cameras according to your choice in a creative way. So right now we're gonna stick with the linear fashion. So now we have placed our camera in our starting point. So now let me play this video. Let me place the slider back to 0 seconds. I place the slider back to 0 seconds. Now let me play this animation. So now you can visualize both in camera view and top view the position of camera, and you can be able to view that. So it's kind of moving in the linear fashion towards our area of interest. Now let me place this slider back to 0 seconds. Now let us visualize the position of our camera. So the camera is currently viewing towards the north west part of the region. So you can visualize the camera is more towards the north west direction. Visualize our camera being positioned towards northeast. So let me move the slider towards our area of interest, that is our Eiffel Tower. You can able to visualize our camera is mainly focused towards our Eiffel Tower. So you can visualize that. Right from the starting this position, the camera has been positioned towards the Eiffel Tower. The camera is currently moving in a linear fashion and just focusing on only on our Eiffel Tower. So suppose if you want to place your camera positioned always towards target, you can do one thing. So now let me set my timer towards 15 seconds. So here I want to set my camera position always towards my target, that is the Eiffel Tower. So click this particular target and right click and set the camera target. So you can place your target. So now we have placed a target on our Eiffel Tower. So now let me move the timer back to the slider back to 0 seconds. So now we can able to visualize the camera is always stick to the particular the target we have fixed, that is this particular target. The camera is going to be get fixed to this particular target. So now we can visualize that. So you can also reposition this target just by using this top view section. You can just drag this camera towards your target. So now I have placed so now we can visualize that I have placed the target on our area of interest. So now let me move my timer from 0 to 15. So you can now visualize that our target will be camera position will be stay on the target, that is the Eiffel Tower. So here in the top view section, you can able to view the position of the camera and the path of the camera. So you can also change the path of the camera just by clicking this point of interest, the starting point, and just you can drag to somewhere here. And similarly, you can also make sure that you can click this point and drag to here. You can drag this point to here. So now let us visualize this. So now the path appears to be changed. So in this way you can just change the path of your camera just by clicking this starting point, and you can drag to the point of your interest. So you can visualize that a movement of your camera is more like in a linear fashion. So you can also change this linear fashion to a curvy fashion. Now let me show you that. So to make it in a curved path, we're gonna add some control points to it. So currently we're in a linear, but kind of in a linear fashion. So you can also change it to a curved path just by adding a control points to it. So to make the path more in a curved fashion, so we have to add a control point. For that, let me position my slider to the middle of this around in 8 seconds. I'm going to place a control point here. So to place a control point, you have to click this option called keyframe all attributes. So now we can visualize we have added another intersection point. So here you can able to visualize we have added another, that is our keyframe point. So to click this particular intersection, that is this point, you can just drag along across this Eiffel Tower to make the path more curved. So now let me move the slider from 0. So you can visualize in this in the camera view. So now we can able to visualize that. So we have made a curved path along the Eiffel Tower. So you can make it more interesting. You can try this out. So now you can able to visualize. Suppose you want to delete this part of the section you have introduced to have made a curved path. So if you're new to this particular Google Earth Studio, the possibility of making a mistake is high. So in this case, you want to delete this particular point. All you have to do is click this particular point and then enter the delete button in order to delete this point. So now let me enter my delete button. So now you can able to visualize that we have removed the intersection point. So here you can able to visualize, and below add attribute table you can visualize the altitude variation. So let me show you that. Right from the starting point we have the altitude of around 114 meters. At the end of this we have an altitude of around 1008 meters. So you can also adjust your altitude just by placing this, you can adjust in this way. So you can visualize it in the altitude section, the altitude get reducing. So let me place it to the default part of it. So you can just make a reduce the altitude just by holding the scroll button, and you can put the arrow in an upward direction. So in this way you can reduce your altitude, which can be observed in the camera position altitude section. The altitude is reducing, you can able to view that. Suppose in case you want to reduce the altitude. So now let me put back to the default location. So now I could like to add another keyboard, that is a keyframe at 8 seconds. So let me place my slider here. Now let me add a keyframe here. Click this option. So new keyframe has been added to our studio. That is now let me make some changes. Let me make this path a more curved one. I've clicked this particular point. So now I can visualize it. I'm gonna show you that. So now I could like to add more keyframes. So let me drag this slide to 20 seconds. So now let me make some changes to it. I'm gonna hold the scroll button and gonna place it in this fashion. I'm gonna increase the altitude. So let me add a keyframe. So click this option. So we have added a keyframe here. So now let me take a look of this right from the start. So I'm gonna take the visualization of this our area of interest. Yeah, it is fine. So I just want to make it as a kind of aerial view. So let me add another keyframe to it. Let me drag the slider to 22 seconds. Click this option called keyframe. So now let me start the slider from the start, so you can now visualize it. So now let me add another keyframe. So now let me drag to up to 25 seconds. And let us add another keyframe. So click this option called keyframe. So now the new keyframe has been added. So now let me drag the slider to 30 seconds. Now let me add another keyframe. Now let us take a look of this. So now we can able to visualize. So this is how we can able to create an animation using Google Earth Studio. So you can add more ideas of yours and make it more plush. Can make it more awesome looking video using Google Earth Studio. So now let me explain about the few options of this add attributes. So here you can able to visualize there is a variety of options. So now in this case you're going to select this particular option called time of day. So we're going to change the position of the sun. So there is also a variety of other options available. So for now, we're gonna stick this particular option called time of day. So we have selected this particular part, so you can visualize that in this part of the area is getting darker, and this part of the area is getting a sunlight. So you can visualize that. So now I'm gonna click this option called done. So it's getting added below this below here, that is environment. So in the environment section, you can able to visualize there is an option called time. So you can change the time and make it an afternoon or night, is according to your wish. So now let me drag this slider to this particular time frame. So now I'm going to drag the slider to the time frame of 20 seconds. I'm going to set the environments. So here I'm going to set the time around to be 2 o'clock. So now you can able to visualize I've set the time to 2:46. So now to make sure that you introduce this particular keyframe into this time frame, you have to drag your slider to that particular keyframe and click this option. So likewise, you're going to drag the slider to 25 seconds. So here you can able to visualize it. I'm going to drag the slider to 25 seconds. I'm going to change this time to I'm going to change as a night time. Let me add a night time here at 27 or 28 seconds. I'm going to place the slider at 28 seconds, and now I'm going to add a night time. So I've set let me set the time. So now you can visualize that we have set to night. So now you can now visualize it. So I will play the entire video now. So now let us visualize this video. So now you can able to view here. So our study area, there is a particular study area is the Eiffel Tower. So from 22 seconds, the time is going to get changed. Yeah, now you can able to visualize it. The night time is going to come. So this is how you can able to create an animation using Google Earth Studio. So the last step is we have to render it. So click this option called render. So now we have named our animation to be Paris animation. So now we have to choose your folder in order to download your animation. So we have to choose your folder for it. You can also select as a video. So in video is going to be a cloud render. So for the image sequence, it will be like we have to choose your destination. You have to choose a folder in your PC. For a video, we are going to select the cloud render, and frames we're going to leave it as a default. So from 0 to 900. So we can also select to 0 to 1800 or 2000. It is your choice. For now, we're gonna stick to 0 to 900, and the dimension is going to be the default one. And attribution, so the attribution here refers to this particular here, the copyrights of the Google Earth. So you can just place this attribution according to your choice, either by using the top left, top center, or right bottom. You can also select using custom option. So the custom, you can just drag this to the corner of it. So now click this option called submit. So here you can able to visualize submitting the Paris animation to cloud render. So currently the render has been now completed. It is sent to the cloud server. So to download it, you will receive a mail from the Google, so that is to your Gmail account. So from there you can able to visualize it. So you will get a notification when the cloud render is completed. You can download from that notification. So it will be available in this part of the section called animation. So go to the cloud renders. So now you can currently able to view our Paris animation is currently running. So once it is done, we'll get a notification, and after that we can download from here. And here you can able to visualize the runtime is going to be taking around 37,500 seconds. That is almost around 10 hours to render this particular file, that is this Paris animation. So it's going to take around 10 hours to complete this rendering. So we have to wait for 10 hours to download this particular Paris animation. So now let me close this. So I just got the notification from our Google Earth Studio where our video is ready to, it has been rendered and it is ready for the download. It took around 7 minutes to download. It actually, I said, was around 10 hours, but it took only around 7 minutes to render and it is available for download. So now let me get back to Google Earth Studio. So we are in Google Earth Studio. Go to the animation section and click this option called Cloud Render. So now we can able to visualize here the Paris animation. It is delivered and it is ready for the download. And it took around 7 minutes to render the entire Paris. So you're going to download this. So here you can able to visualize here the Paris animation is getting downloaded. Now let us take the look of our animation, that is our Paris animation. So now we can able to visualize this. This is our Paris animation rendered video. So we're gonna play this. So we can now able to visualize it. In the editing part it was kind of slow, but after rendering it is completed. It is kind of good. It is pretty fast and kind of it has more quality now. So likewise you can use the Google Earth Studio for creating more awesome looking animations. So thanks for watching and please subscribe to our channel and give us a like.